Hello, dear friends! I have in my hands Zhiyun crane. There is an iPhone on it. By the way, it is not a problem to put an iPhone on it. And in other hand, I have Fosicam. And please pay attention that here there is GH4 with a rather heavy metal ceramic bowl. And I want to tell you more about this stabilizer. As you can see, the roll axis is tilted at 45 degrees, so it's very easy to tap the screen with your finger. Now the gimbal is on following mode. At the same time we can tune, hold, and place our gimbal in any position, in any angle. By the way, we can do the same with Zhiyun crane. We also have a following mode here, but if we try to turn it, it will come back. Sometimes this function is useful. It is set in such a way that it works from this angle also. So it's possible set an accurate angle or shoot from any angle. Again, if we look at the crane, we'll see that this function does not work here too. Also, please note that if we have a follow mode, the joystick does not work up and down on the crane. It only works left and right, and it is changing the angle only the roll axis. Note that here joystick works in all directions, right to left, up and down, and also we can change the speed with it. And moreover, it works in the same way at any angle. So it works like a real joystick. In addition, we can program the joystick also, so it can tilt the roll axis if necessary. Gimbal works on the controller of Alexmos, which allows you to program modes in a variety of ways. If we need quickly return our gimbal to the working position, we press the button Home, and it immediately returns to the starting position. As you know, in the crane this button is not provided, but there is white tally button here, which can help focus and correspondence to the half pressing of the shutter button. This is the moment when the focus half captured. It is very much useful button. There is a plastic handle, and here the handle is metal in the form of pipe. Here the handle is more anatomical in shape, and to hold this handle is more comfortable, of course, especially in winter, in very cold Russian winter. Under the index finger there is a button for turning on Sony and Canon cameras. It is controlled by the optical channel. There are two cables included in a set with each Fosicam gimbals. One of them is a cable for charging Sony cameras. One end he joins here, and other end into the camera. And the second cable serves to control the Sony and Canon camera by the optical channel. Now I have a Panasonic camera here, but I can roughly show you how it works. Here we connect it with one end with the gimbal and the second with the camera. At this end we have an infrared LED, and when we press the shutter release button, this LED turns on and the signal is received on the camera processor. It turns the recording on and off. This works for Sony and Canon cameras. Friends, if we look at the size of Fosicam and crane V2 or Crane Plus, which now has been already released, we can see that the Crane Plus is a little bit more, and so he is a little bit heavy. It is worth to say that Fosicam has built-in battery, which works about 6 hours. We already tested it in practical shooting. In the case of failure, it can also be replaced by resoldering. In order to fully control this device, it is better to have an iPhone. Also, you can change the settings from any Windows computer. But from an iPhone, available very fine control system. So it found the name of Fosi, click on it, and then press the connect button. We see that it is connected and all these keys have become active. Let me show you how the control function works. The control function is very good here. Alexmos is a complete control system. We click here and see several profiles. We activate joystick, remote control, and now we have very smooth and very precise control system. First, when we put a finger, we see that the device does not move anywhere. But if we put a finger in other devices, then it immediately starts moving. But it is very difficult to put our finger exactly in zero position. And then we move, and you can see how smoothly it moves. Also, we can very accurately and easily both accelerate and reduce speed. This is very convenient to work with the gimbal in all directions. If we need a third axis beside these two axes, then for this there is one key that allows you to move this third axis. A very interesting feature, a mimic control, which is also built here. We push here, and now we see that our gimbal is very carefully controlled. You can see it. In this way, you can tilt it in all three axes. Do you know why this can be useful? This function can work much more precisely than if you are working with a joystick. For example, a person who is not very familiar with the movements of a jeep will immediately be able accurately repeat all necessary gimbal movements. Note that there are very interesting settings here. You can add fluency of movement or make it more hard. Click on the settings button, and here we have the block pass filter. It's now set to 7. It's pretty smooth, and if we put it, for example, at 2, we get very nervous, sharp movements. Very accurately repeats our movements, and they look hard. But if we put on 10, then we will wait for a response for very long time. And now the movements will be very smooth. So 7 is the most appropriate settings in which the gimbal works comfortably. It is important that this is a Bluetooth connection, and it will operate at a distance up to 10 meters. Thus, you can solve for a lot of creative tasks with this device. For example, in order to use the function of mimic control at the MOZA gimbal, you should use this remote control. It costs about $115 or $200, but here you just need to have an iPhone. But in general, it is desirable to have an iPhone to work with any gimbal, because on the iPhone there are more functions than on Android, and these applications are developed primarily for iPhones. Here also at Zhiyun Crane and MOZA, the application for the iPhone works better than on Android system. But anyway, we have to admit that in order your gimbal works well, it is better to breathe out and buy an iPhone. So I did it. Let's go back to the great app from Alexmos. We can change the profiles here, turn on and off motors. There are many functions, and we can also change the power of motors. Here we have hardware settings, stabilizing settings. Here, for example, we can change the power of motors. But before doing this, I recommend you to save your settings in memory, so you don't lose it later. Out of the box, the gimbal is already tuned, but sometimes it is useful to adjust settings too. You have just seen that it works with ceramic, which is quite heavy. The Zhiyun Crane, of course, can also work with it. It can work with the same weight as Crane V2 or Crane Plus, but it weighs less. Let's turn it on. He immediately goes to the following mode. This is how it works. This gimbal has encoders. If we press the menu button once, it will go to the yaw follow mode. In this mode, the joystick works just as well on all axes. This is a notable advantage of this gimbal. If we press twice, then again we go to following mode. If we press 3 times, then we go into all lock mode. Then we can do such movements, panoramas, and movements similar to the slider. If we press 4 times, we switch to FPV mode, or as I used to call it, dance mode. Honestly, it is rarely needed, unless you shoot a drunken company. But why not? It works in all directions. This Fosicam gimbal costs about $40–50 cheaper than the Crane, and well, it takes less space. For example, it can be more convenient for a woman, because it will take up a little space in the back and less heavy. You can also put an iPhone on it, and it will work. For example, if you need to put an iPhone, then why not? Right now we see that it cannot fully balance, but if you want, you can add a weight, but now we will leave it this way. And now we see that even without changing the power of the motors, this gimbal still works. Friends, stay with us, subscribe to our channel. We wish you happiness and beautiful shots. You can order from us this gimbal at a good price, and also we invite you to become our wholesale customer.